When the law becomes a weapon for the rich to oppress the poor, justice no longer resides in the hallowed halls of the courts. It falls into the desperate hands of those pushed to the brink. Today, we revisit the archives of three legendary figures from the past. From the rugged mountains of Sicily to the imperial palaces of Japan and the turbulent South China Sea, empires were rotting from within. Salvatore Giuliano, the bandit king who fought for the hungry. A man born from the dust and the blood of a broken Italy. Ishikawa Goemon, the shadow thief of Kyoto who dared to challenge the absolute power of the shogun to feed the starving masses. And Qingxi, the prostitute-turned-pirate queen, who commanded the largest fleet in history and brought three great empires to their knees. These are the ghosts of justice, branded as devils by the history books, but hailed as saints by the people they once protected. Their stories force us to look back and question the thin line between hero and villain. Where does true justice actually lie? We begin in the aftermath of World War II. Sicily is a land of hunger, where the law is a luxury few can afford. Salvatore was just a young man trying to feed his family. He wasn't a criminal, just a victim of a starving nation's collapse. But the law didn't see a hungry man, they saw a smuggler. When they tried to arrest him, fate took a violent turn. A shot rang out. Salvatore fired back in self-defense, wounding an officer. In that moment, his life as a civilian was over. He fled into the mountains, choosing the life of an outlaw over the injustice of a prison cell. A bandit was born. He didn't hide alone. Soon he gathered an army of the forgotten, men who had nothing left to lose but their chains. But he robbed the rich and fed the poor. Salvatore became the Robin Hood of Sicily, a symbol of hope in a dark era. But fame is a dangerous companion. Salvatore found himself caught in a web of politics, mafia deals, and the dream of independence. Then came the tragedy that would stain his legacy forever. The massacre at Portella della Ginestra changed everything for the Bandit King. Gunshots rained down on the crowd. Salvatore claimed he ordered his men to fire over their heads, but many lay dead. Whether a mistake or a setup, his image as a hero shattered. The government and the mafia now wanted him silenced forever. His closest allies began to turn. The price on his head was too high, and the political winds had shifted against him. In 1950, Salvatore was found dead. Betrayed by his best friend, his body was left as a warning to all rebels. He died a criminal to the state, but to the peasants he fed, he remained a martyr who fought for their survival. But as one legend dies in the West, we travel back in time to the East, to the age of the samurai. Japan, the 16th century, Toyotomai. Hideyoshi rules with an iron fist, building golden palaces, while the common folk starve. Into this world of excess and misery stepped Ishikawa Goemon, a master thief with the heart of a rebel warrior. He was a ninja of legend, sliding through the shadows of Kyoto to take back what the greedy lords had stolen. Every night, the wealthy trembled. Their locked rooms and high walls were no match for the man they called the Phantom. He didn't keep the gold. He scattered it in the slums, turning the misery of the poor into moments of miraculous joy. But Goemon wanted more than just gold. He wanted to end the source of the suffering. He targeted the shogun himself. He infiltrated the fortress of Osaka. One strike of his blade could have changed the entire history of Japan forever. A single mistake, a cursed incense burner, and the alarm was raised. The master thief was finally caught in the trap. The punishment for his defiance was to be the most brutal ever recorded. He was sentenced to be boiled in oil. Hideyoshi wanted to make an example of him. He ordered Goemon to be thrown into the cauldron along with his young son. In his final moments, Goemon showed a strength that terrified the onlookers. He held his son above the heat until the end. He died an agonizing death, but his name became an eternal poem of resistance against the cruelty of absolute power. From the fires of Kyoto, we sail to the stormy waters of the South China Sea, where another legend rises. China, the 19th century. The Qing dynasty is failing, and thousands are forced into piracy just to survive the famine. Qingxi started with nothing. a prisoner of her circumstances, but she possessed a mind sharper than any pirate's cutlass. She married the pirate commander Cheng Wei, but she was never just a wife, and she was his partner in every conquest. When her husband died in a storm, many expected the Red Flag fleet to collapse into chaos and infighting among men. Instead, she took command. She didn't lead with just fear. She led with a law that even kings would envy. She created the pirate code. Any man who disobeyed orders or mistreated the common people would pay the price in blood. She protected the villages that supplied her, ensuring her fleet of 80,000 pirates was fed and respected by the poor. Under her rule, the fleet grew to a size that no navy in the world could match. She was the Empress of the Sea. The Qing Emperor called for help. The British and Portuguese navies arrived, thinking they could easily crush a female pirate. They were wrong. Qing Shi used the shallow waters and fireship tactics to turn the colonial navies into floating graveyards. She defeated 3 of the world's greatest empires simultaneously, but proving that her discipline was superior to their conventional might. Knowing she couldn't fight forever, she did the unthinkable. She walked unarmed into the governor's office to negotiate her own surrender. She won. She and her men were granted full amnesty, allowed to keep their loot, and given positions in the government. She retired in peace, running a successful gambling den in Macau, having outplayed every man who ever tried to control her. Salvatore, Goemon, Qing Shi. 3 names, 3 lives, all defined by their refusal to accept a world that had failed them. They were born as victims of injustice, but they died as legends who rewrote the laws of their own existence. History may call them criminals, but the stories told by the people speak of something much more complex and human. When the light of the law fades, these ghosts of justice rise to restore the balance. But is their way truly right? Are they heroes who saved the poor, or villains who caused more chaos? Tell us what you think in the comments below. But the line between good and evil is often just a thread pulled tight by the hands of the desperate and the brave. The story of justice is never finished. It is rewritten by every generation that dares to challenge the status quo. Join us next time as we unearth more secrets from the dark corners of our shared past. This is serious history. In the hills of Sicily, the memory of Salvatore still lingers like a ghost in the wind, protecting the spirit of rebellion. In Japan, children still hear the tale of the thief who loved the people more than his own life in the vat. And on the South China Sea, the waves still whisper the name of the woman who made the world her own. Justice is a mirror. When it breaks, the shards reflect the reality of those who were never meant to be seen. The ghosts of justice will always be here, waiting for the moment the scales tip too far once again. Thank you for watching this journey into the grey areas of morality. Remember, history is written by the winners, but legends always belong to the people. Keep searching for the truth. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next chapter. The battle for truth never ends. Every hero has a shadow, and every villain has a reason for their fight. One small act of rebellion can ripple through centuries, changing the way we perceive the laws that govern us today. Is it possible for one person to balance the world? Or are we all just players in a game we cannot win? The Wolf of Sicily, the Dragon of the East, and the Lion of the Sea. Their spirits remain as guardians of the truth. Time erodes the details, but the essence of the struggle for fairness remains as clear as a bell in the night. He didn't see a king when he looked in the glass. He saw the hunger of his neighbors reflecting in his own eyes. In the end, it wasn't about the gold. It was about the future he wanted his child to live in, free from fear. She carried the marks of her past like a map to her future, as every scar was a lesson in how to survive. We teach our children about kings and queens, but maybe we should also tell them about the ones who broke the rules. Because sometimes the only way to find justice is to reach out and create it for ourselves with our own 2 hands. Every story has 2 sides. We have heard the version of the powerful. Now we finally listen to the voice of the unheard. His name became a prayer for the poor, whispered in the fields of Sicily whenever the tax collectors came knocking at the door. The steam of the cauldron became the clouds of history, carrying Goemon's legend to every corner of the rising sun's land. Qingxi's greatest treasure wasn't her gold. It was the peace she secured for her people when the world wanted them dead. What would they think of our world today? Would they see the same patterns of greed and the same cries for help? The spirit of the rebel never changes. It only finds new ways to speak, new ways to fight, and new ways to hope. And they were the thorns in the side of tyranny. The reminders that even the most powerful walls have cracks in their foundation. Power is temporary. Law is a social contract. But the human desire for fairness is an eternal flame that cannot be extinguished. Salvatore's grain grew into a forest of resistance. His small acts of kindness became the roots of a new Sicilian identity. Goemon's blade was never about the kill. It was about the light he brought to the darkness of the Kyoto streets below. Qingxi's mind was her most dangerous weapon. She saw the moves of her enemies before they even knew they were playing. We are all part of this story. Every time we stand up for what is right, we carry their torch a little further. Unlock the truth. Don't let the history books decide who the heroes are. Look at the hearts of the people instead. It has been an honor to tell you these stories. May they inspire you to look closer at the world around you. True justice is not found in a court, but in the balance we find within ourselves when we face the truth. Justice. Kongli, Seiji. It is a universal cry that echoes through the ages, uniting us all in our search for fairness. His signature was his word, and his word was for the people. A simple bandit who became a king of hearts. The rainbow after the storm. Goemon's sacrifice reminded everyone that some things are worth dying for, even in a cruel world. Qingxi sailed into history on her own terms. She didn't wait for permission to be powerful. She simply took it. They ask us, what would you do? If the world turned its back on you, would you bow down or would you rise? Their faces are still with us, hidden in the art and the songs of those who still dream of a better world. There are many more stories to tell, millions of ghosts who fought for justice in the shadows of the great empires. We return to the present, but we carry the lessons of the past. But the ghosts are not gone. They are part of us. The story is in your hands now. How will you write the next chapter of our shared human history? Justice is not a single thing. It is a billion small acts of courage that together can change the face of the earth. The legacy continues. A new generation watches the hills, waiting for the spirit of the Bandit King to return to them. The story lives on in the laughter and the play of the children who will one day grow to lead their people. The ocean remembers. Underneath the modern steel and engines, the ghost of the Pirate Queen still guards the deep blue sea. We honor them not for their crimes, but for the courage they had to stand up when everyone else stayed sitting down. It is time to say goodbye to the ghosts of justice. But keep your eyes open. You might see them again soon. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the hearts of the three most famous rebels in human history. Until next time, and keep seeking the truth behind the legends. This is where the past meets the present in serious history. Who is the real hero? Perhaps the answer is closer than you think. Stay curious, stay brave, and stay tuned for more. We return to the beginning. The scales remain, but our understanding of them has changed forever through these tales of rebellion. Wealth is not the measure of truth. The heart of a rebel is worth more than all the gold in the shogun's castle. Basic needs are the foundation of justice. When the people are fed, the need for outlaws vanishes like smoke in the wind. Across borders and time, the struggle for a fair world unites us all in a common bond of human dignity and respect. Behind the guns and the politics, there was a man who simply wanted his people to smile again after years of war. He found beauty in the smallest things, even as he prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice for the city he loved so much. She never forgot where she came from, but her power was a shield for every woman who had ever been told she was nothing. 3 worlds, 1 message. Justice is not given. It is taken by those who have the courage to demand it for everyone. The ghosts of justice are our guides. They show us that even in the darkest times, a single person can be a beacon. Think for yourself. Don't let others decide who is good or bad. Look at the impact of their lives on the world around them. Their blood was the ink that wrote a different history. A history of the people, by the people, and for the people's future. Knowledge is the real power. By learning about these ghosts, we learn how to see the injustices in our own time more clearly. From the dust, he rose to become an icon. A bandit whose name is carved into the very stone of the Sicilian mountains. The sound of his defiance echoes through every temple and every street. A reminder that the spirit of the rebel never truly dies. She is no longer bound by the sea, but her legend has reached the stars, a symbol of feminine power that will last for eternity. We are the continuation of their journey. Every act of fairness, every stand against greed is a tribute to their memory today. The future is looking back at us. What will it see? Will it see people who were brave enough to be the change? They are the ghosts of justice. They are the voice of the unheard. They are the ones who refuse to let the light die. The world is a small place when we share the same dreams. The dream of a world where everyone has a fair chance. Peace is the ultimate goal, but sometimes the path to peace is paved with the courage of those who choose to fight back. Thank you for being part of this story. We hope it has moved you to look at history through a brand new lens today. This is Serious History, signing off. Remember, the ghosts are watching, and the scales are always in your hands to balance. The spirit of Salvatore Giuliano flies high above the land he loved, a silent watcher over the villages that still speak his name. Ishikawa Goemon's memory flows like the river, gentle now, but once a raging flood that shook the foundations of the shogun's mighty empire. The legacy of Qingxi is anchored in the history of the seas, a reminder that power can come from the most unexpected places. When we open our eyes to the truth, we see that the struggle for justice is the most human story ever told in history. Stay curious, stay brave, and most importantly, stay fair. Thank you for watching Serious History. We will see you in the next episode.